Have you ever lain awake overthinking every single detail of your life and wondering why your brain just won't shut off? Insomnia isn't just about the inability to fall asleep, but it's very closely related to ADHD, mental health, and where we are in life. When we feel aligned and purposeful and calm, sleep tends to come to us easily. But on the contrary, when things seem chaotic, and let's just face it, for we ADHDers, it's always in chaos, it's so much harder to fall asleep. Today we're going to discuss why we ADHDers are more likely to have insomnia, how it impacts our day-to-day functioning, and how we can improve our sleep. One of the reasons is that we struggle to regulate our melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone that tells our body that it's time to fall asleep. So instead of winding down and relaxing and feeling that nice, heavy, sleepy feeling, our bodies do the exact opposite. We're firing off, we're overthinking, we're restless. Another reason is that we're simply overstimulated at nighttime. We have so many distractions and stimulants in our environment that make it hard for us to block out and finally fall asleep. We wind up replaying conversations we've had from the day, or we're simply distracted by the thoughts in our head, the conversations we may have had that day, or to go even further, dive into existential big picture thoughts. What should be a time to relax, unwind, and clear our thoughts becomes a marathon of mental activity preventing us from finally falling asleep. Inconsistent routines. Nighttime can be really difficult and stressful. Brushing your teeth, having a shower, making sure all the lights are turned off, making sure your things are ready for the next day tomorrow. All of that is a big task. And this has a tendency to just add more stress to the pile of things to stress about. Part of routine orientation is mental wealth. So making sure that we make good decisions throughout the day that can lead to being better organized at night and regulating our emotions at night so we're not firing off at every direction. It starts at the beginning of the day where we choose to make small intentional steps and habits that can help us focus better, can calm us down, and help to produce a certain kind of clarity that we otherwise don't get. Mental wealth helps us to choose to be disciplined in regards to the goals that we set for ourselves, or even bigger, our life purpose. I've had to really strive to incorporate the meaning of mental wealth into my life, and it's been really important with me applying to the Air Force. I've had to become very disciplined in regards to get my fitness and aptitude training up to scratch, but I have had a little bit of help along the way. An essential part of me building this mental wealth has been Magic Mind. This elixir has been a great tool to help me keep my mind sharp, to clear my head, to keep me focused. Let's share why this has been such a game changer. What's impressive about Magic Mind is that it is grounded in science with over 200 studies, which I'll link below. The formula includes 12 active ingredients that deliver tangible results. Time-released caffeine provides steady energy without the crash, while L-theanine helps to reduce stress and extends the positive effects of your coffee. Adaptogens like ashwagandha promote calm and focus, helping me stay grounded during high-pressure moments. And nootropics sharpen your thinking and enhance clarity. I take it as a quick shot in the morning, but you could put it over your milk, your juice, and your smoothie, or just over ice. This is what it looks like. It comes in a convenient little packet. And then inside, you get one of these cute things, which have all the goodies that you need to focus on your mental wealth. If you're looking to boost your mental clarity, your focus, and your mental wealth as well, I highly recommend giving Magic Mind a try. Right now, they're offering 45% off their Focus and Sleep bundle. Use my link in the description to make the most of this amazing deal. And let's make 2025 the year that we all level up together. Some of the challenges that you may relate to when it comes to insomnia are racing thoughts, the inability to quieten your mind when you're in bed and you're actively trying to force yourself to calm. The opposite tends to happen. You're worrying about daily prep, about the next day, you're worrying about work, about school, about relationships, and for some reason when you are in bed trying to go to sleep, it all comes in all at once. Inconsistent sleep routines, like not going to bed at the same time every night, and yes, we are so prone to do this because one of those reasons being that we get so distracted with certain things that we wind up hyper-focusing on, or things that we are simply dreading, like brushing our teeth. One of the things I actually hate doing is taking a shower at night. I actually can't stand it. Overstimulation from screens. This one is completely self-explanatory, and I know you think, damn, I'm guilty. We all are guilty. Restlessness, feeling as though your body just can't relax. You're tossing, you're turning. You may have restless leg syndrome, you just can't sit still. You may deal with sleep procrastination. This is the only time that you get to yourself. So oftentimes it's so convenient for us to be able to focus on those things that really make us happy, or just simply watch a movie. When you wake up in the night, you may feel that it's really difficult to fall back asleep again when you're getting up to go use the loo. The act of actually getting up is so stimulating that by the time you get back to bed, it's over, it's done. External stresses may impact you. The issues that you may take home from work, your relationships, school, those things can be really stressful. And when it's time to relax, go to bed and let your thoughts melt away, it rather provides a platform for those thoughts to be magnified. Another you may relate to is feeling overstimulated by your environment. This one has actually led to an obsessive compulsive issue for me, because I've had to make every single little thing right in my environment to get to sleep, and then it had become a habit, which I'll talk about more very shortly. With all of these things compiling every single night, it can create a positive feedback loop. It becomes something that you wind up expecting to happen, a habit of sorts. And this is where psychologically it makes a big impact. You begin to associate sleep with something incredibly stressful. You begin to associate it with something that you can't do. You go to bed and you spend so much time thinking about the fact that you can't fall asleep. You wind up not being able to fall asleep. Instead of being a place of rest and respite, it becomes a place of stress and a place to face your demons, which is not what we want. It develops into an anxiety on top of the fact that we have ADHD and deal with racing thoughts as it stands. So does it affect your day-to-day functioning? Insomnia doesn't just leave you tired, it impacts every single facet of your day-to-day life. And furthermore, if it is chronic insomnia, you're going to believe that it affects your future prospects. When you don't have enough sleep, your focus truly suffers. Tasks that are usually simple become overwhelming, you become grumpy, you become gritty, food doesn't work. Lack of sleep makes it really difficult to stay present and engaged, often feeling as though you're in a bit of an irritable lull the whole day. The ability to concentrate plummets. It's already difficult to concentrate, but what have you. And having conversations, paying attention to what they're saying becomes extremely difficult because you're just in a constant fog. It can completely affect your mood. And I personally notice that when I have a really bad bout of insomnia, I'm just grumpy all the time. When I do have a good night's sleep and I wake up and I feel energized, I'm ready to tackle the day, I'm in such a good mood. And I'm like, is this what people feel like all the time when they get rest? I absolutely contribute my insomnia to the mental health struggles that I've faced. I contribute it to anxiety, to emotional dysregulation. And it's not only the primary factor of the fact that you're tired, but the secondary factors. If you're tired for a long period of time and have insomnia for a long period of time, your motivation and productivity may decrease, which in turn makes you feel grumpy and at a loss. You can feel extremely demotivated. And like I said, I've worked really hard at remaining disciplined, even though I'm not motivated to do things. I've had to really try my best to create that mental wealth, to be disciplined and go ahead with it anyway, despite the discomfort that I feel from the lack of sleep and the chronic insomnia. But there's no energy left to work on your personal goals, your dreams, that extra 5 minutes that you can take creating a business, for example. You just rather lie down and call it a day. This low motivation can feel so discouraging and adds the fuel on the fire to rejection-sensitive dysphoria. Because it's like, oh, well, we're always failing, aren't we? Fail at that too. So it's especially difficult having ADHD and then on top of that, dealing with the fact that insomnia can demotivate us from the things that really matter to us. My personal sleep struggles have been so immense and deep. I don't even think there is a starting point. Like, that's how deep my relationship goes with insomnia. I always struggled to rest my mind as a kid because, of course, you know, ADHD and all, undiagnosed back then. But it wasn't until I had my kids did it start to really develop. Part of that being having multiple existential crises along the way. Thinking, am I doing enough as a parent? Thinking, am I doing enough as an individual? I want to be an example of somebody who is disciplined and goes after their dreams. But of course, being a stay-at-home parent, I became really isolated. I struggled to network, I struggled to make friends. And with the sever of relationships around me, my world getting a lot smaller, I often overthought about what my life actually is. And I developed really, really bad chronic insomnia. I'm talking like I would go 24 hours, sometimes 48 without sleep. In this case, insomnia is tied to my life purpose. When I feel like I'm not on the right track in life, my sleeping is worse, my insomnia is worse. And it's not as though I actively think about my whole life when I go to bed. Sometimes I do, but it's like this underlying itch that I can't scratch, that I can't quite put my finger on. Or like an iceberg that you see from the surface, but underneath, it just runs so deep. And then over time, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like I stated, when you have insomnia and you don't have any energy to tackle the day, you're tired, you're restless, you're moody, you're everything else under the sun. This has made it so difficult for me to even have the mental clarity to focus on what I really want in life. And then on top of that, having ADHD and then changing what I want to do all the time has become completely stressful. And then I've had the obsessive compulsive issue, like I stated before. I consider myself a princess in the pea. When it comes to falling asleep, I have to have everything completely right. But this turned into obsessions. It became we had to turn every single switch in the house off. It became I had to have my blankets in the correct position. It became I had to do certain breathing techniques, and James would come and help me with this, so he became impacted by it too. It became I had to have clean hands before I'd go to bed. Like, why? Well, what's the point? I'm going to bed. It's not like I'm eating. And over time, this habit, this positive feedback loop just became worse. And interestingly enough, and this is where it truly gets interesting, when I was over in Thailand, Singapore, the United States, and Canada this year, I slept like a baby. I couldn't believe it. I slept like a baby. And I'm like, why can I not sleep like this at home? And it was because I was completely somewhere different. There was novelty. I was having adventures. I was doing things that stimulated me in the day. I was meeting new people. I was forming relationships. I was having the most fulfilling time of my life. And you know what? I can't rely on going traveling to help me to sleep. That is a very expensive path to go down. Now, I can't say that I am very diligent at practicing all of these, but I do know that they help. One of those being CBTI, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. I can't simply afford to do this, but it's essentially CBT for insomnia. So changing your thought patterns, your beliefs around what sleep and bedtime actually means. It's the same concept for issues like anxiety and OCD, which, like I stated, having obsessive compulsive issues at night, CBTI would absolutely be able to calm those down and help me to realign my brain around what sleep actually means. And perhaps that's why being overseas worked, because I was so distracted that it's like I didn't even have the option to go and wash my hands multiple times or turn off all the switches. I wasn't in my own house and I had to accept it. And it's that acceptance that really does help. Journaling, I've heard, is fantastic. Being able to write all your thoughts down as though you're on the phone to your mum and you're like, hey, I'm about to spend the next hour to you just blabbing about my whole day. Journaling gets all those thoughts out so that when you're in bed, they're less likely to come at you sporadically, keeping you awake. It's a really great brain dump, and you don't have to involve anyone else at 1 a.m. in the morning. Avoiding stimulants such as caffeine, cutting that caffeine to 11 a.m. for example, and reducing that screen time, being disciplined at night to get all the things that you need done. My son likes to read. That's another great one. Well, my camera died, so there's that. I actually think I need to replace it, but look, bear with me for the rest of the video. One random thing that's really helped me when it comes to sleep is finding a boring but very rich topic. And this topic, it could be like how to make a beehive or how to look after your bees. In actual fact, that is how I started my own beehive, was because I listened to beekeeping videos while I was trying to fall asleep, and it did work for a while, except the issue is that has to change all the time. There's also supplements you can take. I don't want to replace your doctor's advice, but there's things like melatonin, 5-HTP, and of course for me, I've incorporated Magic Mind into my daily routine. I have noticed this has made me more calm and restful towards sleep and towards my attitude towards sleep. Remember to check out the link in my description for 45% off. So what kind of issues has insomnia given you as someone with ADHD? Where did it all start for you? What kinds of things do you do to help your sleep in your day-to-day life and at night as well? See you guys all again for the next video. Bye.